Hi, this is Geoff from Thursday, and you're watching Burning Music.
Hi, this is Nadia from Burning Music, and I'm sitting next to
Geoff from Thursday.
So, tell me, your first album came out in 1999, called Waiting, and success came with the second album, and you guys toured a lot, and your single Understanding in a Car Crash and Cross Out the Eyes were on MTV. How was this kind of feeling?
It was very strange. It's not something that we ever planned on happening. So for a bunch of kids who started out as a band playing basements and VFW halls and never wanted to play bars or clubs or anything like that, having all that attention was sort of kind of hard to handle at first for us. And then it just became something that we realized we just had to not make a big deal out of it and just try and get through it and figure out where we were now. And in the years since then, you know, we've kind of had ups and downs, and we've landed more in a place that's a little more comfortable, you know, more mid-sized band than we were quite big at one point.
Your new album just came out,
yeah.
New Devolution.
That's right.
Tell me a little bit about it, and how is the reaction so far?
It's actually been the most positive reaction we've ever had to one of our records so far. We wrote it in 7 days. Which is the shortest that we've ever taken to record or write anything, and I think it has a lot more beauty in it than most of our records have in the past, and I'm glad that people have taken to it, because I actually thought a lot of people would hate it because it's not as heavy, it's not as screamy, it's not as urgent, but it does something else, which I think is it's really. I think that every person in the band Thursday has kept playing music for all this time because it's the thing that speaks to us the most in our life, you know. So we wanted to make a record where we were looking for something beautiful, where we wanted to capture something beautiful and not just have it be all heavy and crazy.
You told me that you recorded it in 7 days? Or
we wrote it in 7 days. We recorded it in 4 weeks, and then it was mixed in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're touring with a new album right now, and you're playing 3 shows in Germany.
Yep.
Why did you just play in Germany and not other countries as well?
Well, we did. We played the UK. We played 3 shows in the UK. We played Amsterdam and Grossrock, and I think that's it. That was all the time we had over here. And these were the countries that we do best in anyway, so it made sense.
Do you play in festivals this year?
Yeah, I think we're going to come back to Europe and play the festivals. We haven't confirmed yet, but that's been the plan pretty much since we put out the record.
What about a Warped Tour again?
No Warped Tour for us this year. This year we're doing like a co-headlining tour with Taking Back Sunday in the States. And for us, we've known those guys for about 10 years. So it just seemed to make a little more sense to do something a little more low-key, just with people we know. And a band opening up for it is called The Color Revolt, and I really love The Color Revolt. They've stayed with me before at my house. So, yeah, it'll just be a little, like, Warped Tour is very tiring. We've done it 3 times. I mean, I even got married on Warped Tour, so I know what it's like to live on that tour. And I think all of us, when we turned 30, were like, let's not do Warped Tour for a little while. How about that?
Yeah, you guys streamed 2 songs from a new album before it was released. How was the reaction from the fans, and isn't it kind of risky to stream it, or?
I guess so. I mean, the way that I kind of feel about it is I just wanted people to hear how much the record had changed before they bought it. You know, I wanted, if people didn't want it, I didn't want them to buy it and be unhappy with it. Yeah. You know, I'd rather them just know it's something different and then make the choice of whether they want it or not. So the reaction was actually great, but I guess it is risky to stream stuff. I don't really worry too much about it, because I feel like nobody sells records anyway. Like, even if it's just not something that's like, you sell more T-shirts, you sell more concert tickets. You know, like, records are sort of like the last thing that sells now. I just want people to hear the whole record together, however they get it. I just don't want them to hear 1 song or 2 songs. And that's the only thing I don't like about streaming, is I'd rather people hear from beginning to end, you know, because it tells a story all the way through. Yeah.
What gear do you use if you're on tour?
We have so much gear because we're a 6-piece. So our
guitars,
we have mostly Fender guitars and basses, but our Tom plays some Gibsons, and then Marshall amps, and Steve plays this really strange amp called a Bad Cat. Andrew has a Moog keyboard. He has a lot of Dave Smith synthesizers. Andrew, before he was in the band, he was actually a drummer, and he just loved keyboards, so he collected them. He didn't really play that much, but he had this huge collection of keyboards, and he was messing around showing me them. And the thing that I loved about Andrew was that he wasn't like writing melodies like Get Up Kids or like something like that. He was like making these sounds. And so I liked the way he was like kind of a master at, like almost like a soundtrack, you know? And that's what I wanted him to add to the band. And then Tucker plays CNC drums, which are like custom built for him. Yeah, so we have a lot of gear.
You guys tour a lot, and how hard is it to leave the family and friends back at home?
It's tough. It's really tough. I mean, I think we're lucky that our closest friends are each other. So even when we leave home, it's like we definitely leave behind like girlfriends or wives, but at least we're going out with our best friends. So it's like you don't leave behind all of home.
How is it to be on tour? Do you have any funny stories to tell?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every day is some ridiculous, like, it's always the accidents that happen to you, you know what I mean? It's like the bad things that happen constantly on tour that just make tour funny. I think we were in Portland, and 3 of the band members were at a bar and got drugged. So they blacked out and were like wandering all over the city. And when they got back, they had a pellet gun. It was a soft pellet gun. It didn't hurt at all, but it looked like a real gun. So they thought it would be funny to go out and like stick people up with this pellet gun while they were blacked out from being drugged in a bar. So stuff like that, like, is kind of funny, but it's also sort of scary. You know? So.
What would you work now if you wouldn't be a musician?
Well, if I wasn't a musician at all, I think I'd probably finish school and be a high school teacher.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I was very close to becoming a high school teacher when I dropped out to do this full time, but it's been a long time since then. And now there are other things that I do. You know, I produce other bands' records, like I produced My Chemical Romance and a few other bands like that. And I also write quite a bit freelance for different magazines. I write record reviews or art reviews and stuff like that. So I stay busy even when I'm not on tour.
Do you personally have a favorite song of the new album? Or?
I do. No Answers, the second song on the record, is my favorite from the record. I just really love, even more than, like, I think every song on the record has like all these really strange, interesting sounds that you might not be used to, but I think that song has my favorite overall mood. You know, it's very like introspective, you know, it's not as like there in your face. It's more like it brings people into it, you know, so that's what I love about that song.
Which song do you love to play live?
From the new record?
No.
In general?
In general.
I really love, there's actually a bunch of songs I'm really lucky, like the rest of the members of my band I think are such great musicians that it's really fun to be on stage with them. But off the last record, off Common Existence, I love Beyond the Visible Spectrum. It has this part at the end that's really big, and it's really big and pretty, and I get to sing some notes that I never sing otherwise. And off of Full Collapse, I love How Long Is the Night. Off War All the Time, I really love For the Workforce Drowning because it's so energetic and crazy. And also from Common Existence, the same thing. Not Common Existence, City by Light Divide, I really love At This Velocity because it just starts and it just goes, you know.
You've toured in Europe with Take Next Sunday, 2009, and the Give It a Name tour. How was it to tour with the guys, and what do you think about Germany?
Well, I mean, it was great to tour with Taking Back Sunday. When we were younger, when they put out Tell All Your Friends, and we had already put out Full Collapse, it was really weird because I think like there was some tension between the bands. I think everybody was like, you know, in the time of the States saying like Taking Back Sunday sounded like Thursday and all this stuff. And so it was like weird because we'd hear all these things about like, oh yeah, you know, Taking Back Sunday is like going to be so much bigger than you guys. And it's like, we didn't care about any of that stuff. So we just thought it was weird, but it wasn't them saying it. It was like their fans saying it. So once we got to know them and laugh about it, then it was great to tour with them, especially now that they've become way more of a pop band and we've gone in such different directions that it's like, well, now I love touring with them because I just know what they do and they know what we do. You know what I mean? It's like not even the same realm anymore. But I mean, they grew up in the New York hardcore scene just like we did. So it's like we know all the same people and it's fun. Yeah. And as far as Germany, I mean, Germany's my favorite part of Europe. You know, oh yeah, definitely. It's like the reason why we keep coming back to Europe. Because, I mean, certainly France and places like that are not the biggest Thursday events. So it's great to come over here and get, like, a lot of love.
What's your favorite song or album right now from other bands?
That's a good question. I've been listening a lot to the new PJ Harvey record. I really love that, Let England Shake. And as far as song... it's sort of a strange one, I guess, but there's a 12-inch from a band called Fucked Up, and this one 12-inch for You're the Rat has a song on it called You're the Rat that's like 18 minutes long, and I just think it's so brilliant, it's so beautiful and heavy and crazy, and I admire that band a lot. I think they just keep on doing whatever they want to do and confusing their fans, and that's what makes them interesting, you know.
What are your influences?
Well, I think when we started, we all really loved bands like Fugazi and Shudder to Think and stuff like that, and that's like the sort of common thing that we all loved. And then as we got older, we would play for each other the things that I liked that the rest of the band didn't know. I would play for them, and they would play me the things that I didn't know, you know. And so we all got more interested in each other's musical interests. You know, Tom was really into My Bloody Valentine and like noisy bands like that, and I was really into like darker industrial bands like Skinny Puppy and stuff like that. So I like, you know, we would just like cross each other's musical tastes and stuff like that. And that's really one of the ways that you grow together as a band, is to like get interested in what each other likes, you know.
Do you have any advice for young musicians?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I wish somebody would have told me when I was younger is just not to worry about it, you know, just keep making music, and when people tell you that you're the best thing ever, you know, that you're the greatest band in the world, just don't believe them. And then when they tell you that you're the worst band in the world, you don't believe them either. You know what I mean? You just keep doing what you do because you love it, and remember that everything else is just exaggeration, you know?